When we first came down this road exactly 1 year ago, we all felt a deep sense of apprehension. We'd read the stories of the appalling conditions in Romanian orphanages, and we'd been set a challenge to renovate one of the biggest. But nothing could have prepared us for what we saw when we first arrived. Going into that building was an experience I'll never forget. The utter bleakness, the damp, the smell. It's the smell that hits you first of all, isn't it? Hello. Although this isn't the first time we've been back to Siret, there's still a sense of foreboding, wondering whether all the effort of last year's challenge has had any real effect. Anneka, hello. The first thing that really hits you is the smell, the lack of the smell, and then looking at the children, bright eyes, happy faces. For the first time, they looked like real children, so different from last year.
We are told that the children here are actually from 4 to 22. Now if you look at them, they look about the size of a 2-year-old.
It was impossible to describe the pathetic state that the children were living in. There was very little running water, no working loos, and only 4 light bulbs in the whole building. The workers who'd volunteered to transform the place couldn't believe that this was home for over 500 children, the innocent victims of the Ceausescu regime.
9 years old, it's unbelievable.
The public response to our appeal was overwhelming. Nearly 1 million calls in just a few hours, offering everything from 6-inch nails to new showers, baths and beds.
It's crazy! What have you got? What's the gallons and gallons of paper from nurses and plumbers and all sorts.
20 lorries made the long journey across Europe. These are the loos and showers, not the most salubrious, but they do work. The brightly painted walls, the results of 4 intensive days of work last year, which inspired Britain and really put the name Siret on the map.
what's happened this week is beyond our wildest dreams. And the only way I can put it, which really knocked me back and brought tears to my eyes, earlier on this week, a little child turned around and said that God sent you, sent us. Okay, you're on this one, all right.
At the end of that programme, we said it was only the beginning, and for many of those workers that certainly proved to be the case. This week, for example, Ron Gallier's here, hello Ron, and his team of Birmingham workers, they're back again in Siret. For some of them, it's the 7th time this year they're here to do repairs for the winter. Also this week, there's doctors here, a plastic surgeon, a team of occupational therapists, not forgetting the British volunteer care workers who form the backbone of the whole operation. These volunteers, nurses, teachers, people from all walks of life, have come to Siret for up to 3 months at a time to give the children the thing they've been starved of, love and attention. They give some relief to the Romanian workers in the orphanage, each of whom have to look after over 20 children all day long. The volunteers from the charity which set us the challenge, the Romanian Challenge Appeal, are led by Karen Bowles, a psychiatric nurse from the West Midlands who's been working here since March.
Initially when I came over here, presenting this huge hospital in front of you, and there are 537 children here, you think, where am I going to start? And the first place I thought of was with the smaller children, because it's those children that can actually go on and to develop good or bad habits, and you can actually nip them in the bud very early on, so it was crucial that we had a very early training going on. But you can see from the children themselves, they have made terrific progress. I'm sure volunteers who've been out earlier in the year will have seen the dramatic change in the children. You know, we've got kids who've got hair now, so we've got real personalities, we've got real characters running around. Each child has something about them, whether it's a giggle, whether it's a laugh, whether it's a touching motion. You know who's who. You can tell who's behind you before you turn around nowadays.
Steve Langhorne is a nurse trained to work with people with learning difficulties. He's spending 5 weeks in Siret after hearing about it from a friend who'd been out earlier in the year.
There's been a system worked out so that we can have different children every morning, every afternoon and every day, so that everybody in the room gets a chance to get some play in. Otherwise they're just sitting around in the cots. Play's got to be good for children in all kinds of ways. For these children, it's in the most obvious way is actually it gets them using their legs, which are wasted. I can encourage them to walk about, which they don't really do that much of at all. Also the affection as well, just the hugs. They don't get enough of that either. The hardest thing is actually trying to encourage them to play with each other. They're so used to being separate within the room anyway, divided. They don't get much chance of playing together. So I've been trying to encourage that, but it's going to be an uphill struggle, I think.
The volunteers bring with them many different skills. Jane Flynn is an ophthalmic nurse from the West Midlands.
Nearly all of the children have got squints. They've got eyes that turn. That's been the main problem. We've found a few children that are actually blind from congenital problems that we could have done something about in England, and but they've just been left, and they're 5 or 6 years old now, and nothing can be done. In fact, not only testing the children's eyes, I've been testing the carers' children, their family, and it's good for relationships to do that for them.
Karen helps to monitor the hundreds of toys and the rest of the equipment which was donated during the challenge. There were stories in the British press that equipment had been stolen. Both the British carers and the Romanians were very distressed by the allegations, which turned out to be greatly exaggerated. What do you think the proportion of goods that have disappeared is?
I'd say probably about 5%.
As little as that?
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been a massive amount at all. I think every volunteer that's working in orphanages or hospitals in Romania has seen petty theft going on. They are trying to stop it here now. They're taking precautions at the gatehouse.
So is a lot of it kept safely locked away and brought out as and when the need arises?
There are toys all over the hospital. Obviously, we've got playrooms up and running now, and there are toys that are being used constructively. For your legs? Da, am serious acum. Vorbesc să-i Bobișan. Da? Bobișa, să-ți
The 6 or so carers who are here at any one time cannot hope to help all the children in the orphanage. Other charities, including the British-based charity Jacob's Well, also have volunteers working in the orphanage, but together they can only look after children from a tiny proportion of the orphanage's 27 rooms. Do you feel a sense of desperation, like you just said, there's 537 children, and you're working with a really tiny proportion, really? Do you walk past the other closed doors and think, this is breaking my heart?
It's really hard because there are just so many children here. That is the greatest problem in the hospital. If we halved the number of kids, it would be ideal, but we can't do that. And every time you walk past the door, whether in a room that you're not working, you see kids that are sitting down and they're not doing anything. There's no stimulation taking place. You feel guilty, but you've got to start somewhere.
It doesn't actually matter how new and how shiny the cots are. There are simply too many cots in every room. In this room alone there are 24 children with just one Romanian carer. This orphanage remains hopelessly overcrowded. Elena here has worked at the orphanage for 20 years. She's got 8 children of her own at home. Well, presumably she's working to earn money to support her own children.
Lucrați ca să câștigați bani pentru copii, nu, doamnă?
I have been working as a carer for 15 years, so that I can earn a penny for my children, for food and clothing. Here in Romania it's very difficult, clothing, food. I have 8 children. One girl is married, the others are small children.
How many children do you look after in this ward?
Câți copii aveți în grijă aici?
Aici 25 de copii.
25.
One person looking after 25. Normally a room full of 25 children, or 600 children in the whole orphanage. It would be pandemonium. How do they manage to control the children?
Cum îi faceți pe copii să fie așa de cuminți? Cum le sunt așa de cuminți? Le dați calmante?
We give them sedatives, we talk to them, play with them, and in time they get used to us. We talk, we say mama, papa. I consider these children the same as the children I have at home. It's being like a mother to all these children.
Have conditions changed at all in the last year since the British workers arrived?
Conditions have improved considerably. There is more clothing, bedding, nappies. It's very good now compared with how it was before.
The children are different. They don't just lie down in their beds. They've started to walk, they've started to exercise. When we had each of us 30 to 60 children in our charge, we couldn't cope with the work as well as playing with the children.
Levick is one of Britain's top plastic surgeons. He and his team from the charity Bright Eyes have come out to Siret to see what can be done to help cure some of the children's disfigurements. He's brought with him an anaesthetist, nurses and surgical instruments, including some of the latest equipment from England.
We're here at last. We're here at last.
But he still has to do battle with Romania's shortage of resources.
The water's run out.
Eh?
Very good.
14-year-old Floria is a battered child, still bearing the scars of the wounds inflicted by her mother.
Should we see if we can help?
Da, să merge poate să facă domnul doctor ca să facă mai bine, da? Da?
Eyebrows at the same height. I think this is just congenital ptosis.
This child's drooping eyelid can be cured with a simple 20-minute operation. Paul found cleft palates, hair lips, all problems which in Britain are corrected at a very early age.
These are epidermoid cysts.
Can they be operated?
Yeah, doing tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. That's no problem.
But he also found children with much more serious medical problems. This child has hydrocephalus, water on the brain.
Have they assessed this child and decided what needs doing?
Her huge head is swollen with fluid which can easily be drained off by a simple valve. The problem is, Romania has a shortage of valves, and in Romania, this child living in an orphanage has the lowest possible priority.
Even with a head like that, they can have normal intellect. This is rickets. Well, this is way outside of the scope of plastic surgery this week.
The more children Paul examined, the more he realised just how much they'd been neglected over the years.
Nothing. Is he having physiotherapy?
This is a bit of a problem with physiotherapy here because
I bet there's some British physiotherapists that would like to come and help. Eh? That's what you need, chum.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Good boy.
Then Paul examined Sava, a 17-year-old spina bifida sufferer, and discovered the true horror of Siret.
They're ulcerated as well.
Сюда tylko studiantată comisia medicală să punem indicații asupra posibilității de
They're having to make a decision if to amputate.
Right.
That's right.
They cannot heal the ulceration.
Pain?
M-am oprit și eu.
Did she feel pain then?
Te doare? Te doare.
This is very dangerous.
E periculos, e periculos.
This is infection in the joint. It could kill him.
Infecția asta poate să
Cronic.
ucidă.
Continuă și poate să ucidă. De asta.
I think the decision for amputation may be to keep her alive.
Stay here as she is.
Something's got to be done. Something's got to be done.
The infection is spreading through her body. Without immediate amputation, Sava will die. Meanwhile, the Birmingham workers are doing running repairs, getting the orphanage ready for the long Romanian winter. John and Chris here, who were both out on the original challenge, you've now been back 4 times?
4 times. Yeah.
4 times, both of you. Why'd you come back?
Well, after the challenge, we was concerned that it wouldn't last and that things would go back to how they were before. So by coming out, we keep an eye on things for everybody.
Yeah. And how are you financing all that?
Financing, we just take annual leave from work.
Yeah.
And on this occasion, we've no annual leave left, but some people where we work, they've given up their holidays so that we can come.
There is something that is making people come back and back and back. I mean, some of your teams have been back 7 times.
Yes, yes.
I think what it is now, it's the first time initially we came to do what we could for the kids as far as providing them with heat and lights and that. But now they're just friends, you know. We come back to see friends. And I think that's what they all need really, is friendship, because before we arrived they didn't have friends, you know. So if we provided them with that, I think we've done something.
By us being here and to see the way we work and to see the way we plan out things, the way things get started, it rubs off on people like Estelle and the Romanian workers around about.
This chap probably do it single-handedly.
Oh, he can do anything. He's the boss.
He's taught us a few tricks.
Hey.
He's a boss man.
He's the boss man.
I mean, he just looks the part now, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's improved
Totally.
since. I mean, on the challenge, he just had a bum bag. Now he's got the the full kit.
Tea break in the back of a truck. Is this your 7th trip back here now? Why'd you keep coming?
The kids, I think. It's since the challenge, and seeing the children as they was, and seeing them now today, running around, helping us, doing a lot of the work that we do. It just gets you, and you've got to come. You've just got to keep coming.
What would you say are the biggest changes? Because it's now almost exactly to the day a year since we all first came.
The children. The biggest change in the children, you can see they're filling out, whereas they were skin and bones before, they're filling out, they're lively. Little kids that were in cots in the summer, they was in the playground over the road, just running wild.
and before they couldn't move.
We think that the children themselves will drive this project forward as they get more and more educated, as they get better clothing, and they start to take an interest in their own appearance. I think that will force everything forward. The television, some people thought was a frippery. I don't think they were. It brings the outside world into this orphanage. We think it will take perhaps another 2 years before this place can stand on its own. And I think it will then. I don't think it's as black a picture as we would paint.
Ron and his team have been turning their attention to the kitchen and the laundry.
You can't say that you can never bring this building up to UK standards, but by taking the essential elements, you can at least preserve life. The problem is everybody is trying to cope with the latest crisis. They can't get on with the business of living, it's just one crisis after another. That is the difficulty. This is the only place they can do any cooking for the children. They've got 3 steam boilers fed from the main oil-fired boiler, and you can see there's more steam coming out than there is actually going to heat the water. The biggest problem we had here was rats in the food. And so next door we've constructed what we used to call the meat safe, and it stops the rats getting in at the food. These are the old side-loading machines which would have been installed probably about 50 years ago. Good machine in its day, but worn out. Virtually no temperature control, so the water comes in almost the same temperature as the boiler. Modern fabrics just won't take it, and certainly walls won't take it. So there's a reluctance to send clothing into here. That's the thing dry, keep away from it. It's as lethal as it looks.
This laundry certainly needs help, but help of the right sort.
This is a perfect example of how aid can be misdirected. When this washing machine was sent out by a charity over 2 years ago, there was no one here to install it. As a result, parts have gone missing. It's now totally useless. What I'm really saying is there's no point in aid unless it comes with an after-sales service. Everywhere you look, you're either treading in water, there's taps running, there's taps dripping. There's water everywhere, and yet there's a water problem, there's a water shortage.
Indeed. This is one of the problems. They probably use 3 times as much water in a day as we do in Birmingham per person, because the machinery that they have wastes water. This is for rinsing the clothes in, and the baths are overflowing, the taps are left running. It's almost as though while we have it, we will use it.
As the year has gone on, the scale of the problem facing Siret has really begun to emerge, and we're not talking about the orphanage in particular, we're talking about the whole town, and indeed the whole of Romania. The town, for example, is only 2 hours of running water a day. There's a lack of food, there's a shortage of fuel, bad communications. Over the last 30 years, the whole infrastructure of Romania has literally broken down.
The town is on the breadline. The people have nothing. It's not surprising that since the lorry loads of aid started arriving for the orphanage, the local people have felt resentment, even jealousy. Their own children are deprived and also live in homes without proper sanitation or electricity. Siret's own local hospital, for example, has no hot water.
We must do the hospital for them. We must do that, because I think this is part of the alienation that we found ourselves in to some extent, because we're creating premises that are better than the people themselves are using. I think had we have known that, we might have even scaled down what we did here to start with. If they are so poor in the town, we must help them as well for the whole town to prosper. And that's our idea. 2 projects a year. I don't think we should get too excited about the scale of it. It's only 2 a year.
Just behind the orphanage, they found an old people's home in an appalling state. They've completely gutted it, rewired it and put in hot and cold water. The 60 residents now live in comparative comfort, even sleeping in beds which came over on our original convoy. Old people's home is a slight misnomer, when some of the children from our orphanage will be going there before they're 30. Then, in the middle of the town, they turned their attention to another orphanage, which houses 200 boys aged between 7 and 18. With so many volunteers coming to help throughout the year, one of the first priorities, though, is to find somewhere for everyone to stay.
Just down the road from the orphanage, there's a haven for the British care team. In Ceausescu's time, it was part of a football stadium. In just 3 days, Ron and his team from Birmingham have transformed it into a little piece of England, a home from home. This is where all the food is. Oh, this is great. This is great. So what are sort of marks out of 10 for the hostel here?
Where we're staying at the moment?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fabulous. Well, I mean, as you know, the conditions we lived in before when we was on the original challenge was absolutely appalling. You know, at times we was envious of the children. You know, we'd rather have stuck with the children than in the gymnasium. But this is fabulous now.
It's almost like home, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. And there's Monica through the hatch.
Hi, Annie. Hi.
Double lasagna, please. And
Double lasagna.
3 portions of
I'm sorry, we've only got curry tonight.
That'll do.
Of course, Monica here, lurking through the hatch, is the reason why everybody in this building is here, because she originally sent us the challenge a year on.
A year on, I cannot believe. I do not know where the time has gone. Just seems like yesterday. So much has happened during the year.
One thing, Monica, you've had is total loyalty by so many people who came out on that original challenge and have hung in there.
Those guys from Birmingham, from the city of Birmingham, I honestly would be completely lost without them.
A year on, a lot of knowledge gained in that year. What do you think you still need now?
We have a great need at this moment in time, having had the medical teams and the nurses and the carers here for this year, of physiotherapists. Personnel, we need an administrator out here. We need somebody certainly to assist and to work with Karen out here in the hospital itself. And I would certainly like to see, if it was at all possible, a doctor here for a year. We've had lots of doctors here, we've had lots of student doctors here, but I think we need a permanent doctor.
And is there not a Romanian doctor who could fulfil that role?
I don't think so. Unfortunately, many of the Romanians have been starved of up-to-date information on new developments, new techniques and working with children. And I don't mean to be critical of them, but they're looking to us to learn from us.
In the regional general hospital, Paul Levick and his Bright Eyes team set to work on Floria and her friends, mending cleft palates, hair lips and other congenital deformities.
She's suffered enough, this little girl, not suffering anymore.
But the British doctors soon run up against the inadequacies of the Romanian health service.
None of these cuts have been sewn up in the past, they've all been allowed to heal of their own accord.
We're seeing cases that we wouldn't see back in the UK, very advanced pathology, contractures that wouldn't have been allowed to occur in children in our system at home. But because the facilities are quite poor really, and the doctors have so many more patients to look after than they do in the UK, then they need all the help they can get.
We've been trying to keep our standards up as we would at home, and we just can't, because we haven't got water, we haven't got linen, we just haven't got the basic facilities. And it's been very hard, but I think we've coped.
The team's anaesthetist is Dr. Magdi Goris. Before he could start work, he found he had to build his own equipment.
This machine was something I've never used before, and I've never seen either. I reckon it was made in the 1930s or possibly soon after. So we basically took it to pieces. With a little bit of effort we ended up with a machine that is really capable of anesthetizing children, and so far it has been very successful.
There will be those that say, as a plastic surgeon, what is the point of performing these intricate operations on children who probably will have no life outside those walls?
Yes, that's been said to me by some of the doctors. Why do you bother?
Mm.
And when I say to them, well, if in 5 years' time I'm remembering patients in Romania and wondering whether the little boy that can't speak at the moment is now able to speak better and is being better accepted by his peers, then that makes me very happy, and hopefully will help that boy as well. The doctors thought that was an interesting view that they hadn't thought of. They're considering it themselves now. And there's certainly children there that aren't abnormal. And it's quite obvious that some of them are bright, intelligent children that should be out in the community.
Okay.
Good.
In fact, the orphanage in Siret is classified as a psychiatric hospital. All the children in it were written off by society from the age of 3.
When they approach that age, they've never been loved, they've never been played with, they've never been taken out of their cots. So consequently, they can't achieve the skills that they've been asked to perform at assessments, hand and eye coordination. Do they know parts of the body? Can they tell colours? But if you've never been shown them, or you've never been taught how to speak, how can a child respond? And quite often, I mean, here certainly in Siret, there are children who can do all of those things, and they're actually sitting here and they've been sitting in cots, or they've not been given a chance to go to school because their assessment has been filled out and the criteria hasn't been reached.
There is a school in the orphanage, but it can only accommodate 60 or so of the brighter children. The children are so quick and receptive, though, it's a tragedy the opportunity isn't available for every child.
Din. Gushi. Bine. Mănuți la spate și urmăriți frumos acolo. Legi.
Râți, colegă, colegi.
Bravo, Georgiana, la loc. Repijor. Așa e, înapoi. Mai repede. Așa e, bun.
In fact, it's only when other teachers and occupational therapists come to Siret that the other children get a look in at all.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
We responded to an advert in our occupational therapy journal to come out and work in Romania. It was basically just a very small article, and we phoned up on the off chance, and we've ended up here.
Who's the we?
There's 4 of us. There's an Australian OT and 2 other occupational therapists as well. There's 4 of us altogether.
And did you know you were coming to this particular orphanage?
Yeah, we knew we were coming to Siret, and we knew we were probably going to do something about weaving. We had lots of plans of what we wanted to do with the children, and we've been pleasantly surprised by what they're able to do. They're really keen to learn, and there's so much potential there for them to develop as well. They've been deprived of normal development, and we're trying to bring that into our work here, do a developmental programme as much as we can, and just trying to get them to improve. And we have seen improvements. You know, we've only been here 8 weeks, and there's been improvement already.
And how long are you here for?
3 months in total. That's how long we're.
And then what happens?
Well, we've been training the carers up. We've got 2 carers who have been provided by the director, and we're hopefully trying to train them up so that they can carry it on.
What's this?
That's a thing.
Fingers. It's a finger.
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 It's a finger.
It's a finger. It's a finger. What are these?
No, I'm a primary school teacher, but I'm also a teacher of English as a foreign language.
Fingers. They are fingers.
Initially, I was going to teach primary children, which I thought I'd be able to do in a room, but I decided to teach the older ones English because I felt when I first arrived that there's a lot that needs to be done here, but you can't do it in 4 weeks, you can't do it in 2 months. You need to come for a short amount of time, see what needs to be done, go back, plan it, and then come back for a longer period of time, which is what I'm planning to do.
9, 10.
What's your name?
My name is Fly.
How old are you, Mihaela?
I am 19 years old.
I live in England. Which country do you live in? Which country do you live in?
In Romania.
Good.
Michaela came to Siret at the age of 5. She's now 19. Can you describe your life in the orphanage, what you do from day to day?
Poți să ne spui ce faci tu aici, în fiecare zi, cam ce program ai?
Usually, until Fenella, the English teacher, comes to teach me English. When I wake up, I don't go anywhere. I stay in the ward. I wait for the cleaning work to be done. I wait for the British nurses to come, these people who come out from England. Otherwise, otherwise I get bored. I don't know what to do. Anyway, I don't think I should be here in this hospital.
De ce nu erai pentru acest spital? De ce ești aici la spital? Hai, nu fi supărată. De ce ești aici la spital? Spune-mi. Her mother remarried, and she thinks that's why she was brought here. She just said that she shouldn't be in this hospital, and when I asked her why she shouldn't be in this hospital, she started crying.
Well, I mean, it is so obvious that she shouldn't be in this hospital.
It's obvious.
Here is someone who's got a high intellect. She's obviously totally frustrated at being here with people who do need help.
Yes, indeed.
What Michaela knows is that her only future beyond the walls of the orphanage is yet another institution. The old people's home may have new beds and hot water, but it's no place for a young girl whose only crime is to be in a wheelchair.
Și mă întreabă cum o duc, mă. Nu stai să mă întreabă așa, parcă n-aș ști, n-ați vedea, parcă n-ați ști, n-ați vedea, ca se albă ca sia, mă. Tinere să vezi cum ești, nu stai unde se grebea, vezi cum e viața lui, cum e viața omului, măi. Neagră sunt megrusă, să mai cheamă megrusă, preiza pe naran, preiza pe naran, și mai cheamă megrusă, și mama a fost neagră, și tata a fost neagră, unde la raparam să bine numai sa, to vainco, to eu vainco, aganse mase mâine, avanse mase mâine, unde la raparam să bine numai sa, to vine România.
Well, that's it. 1 year later, things have obviously improved, but there's still an awful lot that still needs to be done. Romania is not just last year's problem. Siret is going to need help for many, many years to come. The children in there, well, many of them shouldn't even be in there in the first place, but for a lot of them, their only future is the old people's home next door. Those children deserve the love and affection that's the right of every child. Good night.
If you'd like to know more about how to help Romania's orphanages, please send a stamped addressed envelope to Romania, Challenge Anneka, London W1A 3AR.